A trumpet sounded, echoing up the mountainside. Darrell looked down and saw a herald on the fortress parapet. Soldiers scrambled onto the walls. Coming up the valley was a large army of brightly colored lizardmen. Darrell wondered,
How could the lizardmen even know where we are?
The fortress gates burst open and orc soldiers poured out, waving pickaxes and spears, screaming with rage at the approaching lizard men. They were led by a massive cyclops, swinging a spiked club high above his head. More orcs and cyclops followed. One cyclops ran into a boulder and shoved. It began to roll down the mountain toward the lizardmen, who simply stepped aside as it bounced harmlessly past. Darrell could not believe what he was seeing. How could the lizardmen be here? The Enchantress glided close and whispered, I have kept my thoughts with Jericho, and he knows what we are about.
So, how could they get here so soon?
Darrell stammered. They have the power to travel by creating a portal, the Enchantress replied. Darrell shook his head and turned back to the valley, muttering,
I reckon so.
The orcs, their screams echoing across the valley, ran wildly into the advancing lizardmen. Darrell heard blades scrape and ring as lizardmen slashed at orc shields. He watched Jericho battle a cyclops, dodging the heavy club while jabbing with his spear. Zala said, We must go find Ratix. No sooner were the words spoken than a gray, hairy creature appeared on the wall above the entrance gate, a thing with a face like a giant rat. In its clawed hands it held a red heart-shaped stone encircled by a ring of fire. Ratix hissed.
Burn them all.
A burst of fire shot from the stone and struck close to the cluster of lizardmen. They burned with loud screams and fell withering to the ground. Zala cried out, He has learned how to use the power of the Draku stone. Zala leaped into the air and flew directly at Ratix. As she drew near, she loosed a burst of fire, but Kira jerked her aside mid-breath. No, Kira shouted, don't kill him. Zala's flame missed. She wheeled angrily towards Kira. Kira chastened. We agreed not to kill him. We did. I just lost myself in anger, Zala snapped back. In that moment, Ratix fired again. His blast struck Zala and knocked her backward, spinning in a spiraling fall. Kira stared in shock when the fire did not seem to harm Zala at all. She barely evaded another burst that Ratix sent, snapping through the air toward her. Ratix raised the stone for a third strike. When the Enchantress hit him with blue fire, Ratix fell to his knee. Seeing himself outnumbered, he clutched the Draku stone and fled into the fortress. Zala's answering flame struck the doorway he vanished through and fizzled harmlessly against the stone. Zala and the Enchantress landed on the rampart. Zala said, Go back and get Blinn. I will follow after Ratix. The Enchantress nodded and flew back where Blinn waited. Darrell rode Pern to the open gate, his sword drawn. Kira swept down beside him. Orc guards cursed as Darrell dismounted and charged. They swung wildly, but they were no match for the paladin's red fiery blade. Within moments, they lay dead or dying. Darrell and Kira ran past the fallen guards through the open gates into the courtyard. Kira shouted, This way! We must go this way to reach Ratix.